Welcome to the Relaxed Dog Podcast, the podcast where the dogs are the stars of the show. Welcome to episode 97 of the Relaxed Dog Podcast, sponsored by therelaxeddog.com. Thank you very much for finding this podcast. And I'd like to know, did someone tell you about it or did you find it by yourself? Either way, if you think it's worthwhile listening to, I'd like you to tell a friend about it as well. I am your host, Robert Ober, and I hope that you and your dog are well. My guest this episode is Brenda Pearce, and she is going to be telling us all about her very stoic Jack Russell Daisy. And here is that interview. Welcome to the Relaxed Dog Podcast. I am here today with Brenda Pearce. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. It's nice to be with you, Robert.
Likewise. And whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in a small southern Ontario town in Ontario, Canada, called Tillsonburg.
Oh, nice. And that's in your middle of summer now, isn't it, I think? Yep.
We just passed our Civic Day holiday, which is the midpoint of summer, and summer's at its peak and just beautiful, warm, and very, very glorious right now.
Excellent. And who are we going to talk about today?
Well, today it's going to be my Jack Russell Daisy, my 19-year-old dog who's nearly blind and nearly deaf, but has given me years of companionship and comfort and craziness, insanity, you name it.
Right, looking forward to it. So, as per usual, I'm going to ask you to take us back in time to just before you and Daisy met and tell us the hows and whys that happened.
Oh, well, going back that far, I've been a practicing RN for 38 years. So this is like mid-career, way back 19 years ago. So I was coming off of a very strenuous job with the Ministry of Health, working away from home and traveling quite a bit. And I have 3 children. So my youngest was 10 at the time, Allison, she was 10. And my boys were 15 and 17. So they were off to their jobs and their sports and driving around and having their freedom as young men. And Allison, being much younger, was quite alone. And I thought it was perfect timing. I was coming off of a long haul career. And I thought that I would get a dog and give her some companionship. So that's how that started. Was, there was a need, and the thought of a dog came into my head. Little did I know it would be this little dog that I have here with me.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So how did the search go?
Speaking of which, I have Daisy with me. So she's just getting a little restless. I'm just going to put her down.
No, that's all right. It's her podcast.
That's right. So here you go, Daisy. You hear her tap dancing on the floor. Anyway, that's all good. And she does have a bit of an asthmatic cough now, so she will cough a little bit.
Oh, that's all right. That's fine.
It's all good. This is all about you, Daisy. You're the star. What do you think?
She is, absolutely.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Okay. There you are.
How did the search for a new dog begin?
Well, it was rather just putting the word out to my cousin, my 2 cousins owned the animal shelter in our town. And so I had called up my cousin and I had said, hey, just in case you ever find a cute little dog that needs a home and doesn't have anybody claim it, please let me know. I just want something small and cute and broken in. And she paused for a second. She said, do you know anything about Jack Russells? I said, no, I'm not being breed specific at all, but I know nothing about a Jack Russell other than they jump a lot. And she says, well, we happen to have a beautiful little Jack Russell right now. It needs a home. And her mugshot's been in the paper a couple times and nobody's claimed her.
Oh.
And so the next day she would be going to a larger center for possibly, who knows what her next phase would have been. But anyway, so I said, okay, well, I'll come on over and I'll bring my daughter and we'll have a look and check her out and see if it's a fit or not. Okay. When can you come? I said, okay, I'm on my way. So I gathered up my daughter and she was excited to think that maybe we might be looking at a future pet. And so we got in the car, went over the 10 minutes to my cousin's, and both of them were there. We walked, we greeted, and we walked into the shelter, and there was a little pen with this beautiful little white dog with brindle ears, and they opened the door, and this beautiful little dog came out of the cage and flopped over immediately onto her back so we could give her belly rubs. And my daughter said, oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Oh, Mom, she's so cute. And because my daughter bonded immediately with this little dog, they ran off together out into the yard and ran around. And Allison was excited and had so much fun chasing this dog, and this dog was chasing her. And I just looked at my cousins and I said, I guess she's ours. And I said, is there any fees or anything I have to, pay or any papers to sign? No, just find her a happy home, in your home, and that'll make us happy. And so we got in the car, went home, and that began the journey of Daisy. She didn't have a name at that point. Mm-hmm. There was nothing indicating her name. And so when we got home, the very first thing she did was she ran into the flower bed that was filled with daisies blooming. And the daisies were just a little bit taller than her tail. And her tail was making this wake in the flowers. And, and she was off chasing whatever was in the flowers. But we thought it was so cute, we had to call her that, Daisy.
Nice. Very nice. And how was the initial introduction into the home?
It was as if she'd always been there. She found her home. And I honestly believe, the right animals find the right people. And it was like she was everybody's immediate friend. She was running around chasing everybody, bundle of energy, plus. And she checked out everybody's bed to see which one she wanted to sleep on. So she chose mine, and my spouse at the time had to initially start adopting this dog on our bed as well. So she's never left.
It sounds like she's made an instant sort of like, yes, this is my house and this is where I'm going to be and this is what I'm going to do.
Exactly. It's been fun. And it's been an adventure. So much energy and so much spunk. And even with her advancing years, she does sleep a lot, but she is still, she still gets up and loves to be in the garden and the flowers.
Mm-hmm. Do you have what sort of yard do you have?
Well, I've always had either lived in the country with a big yard, or right now I'm living with my mom. I help to take care of my mom, who's advancing in her years. So I have two wonderful spirits to caretake for in my mom's home. And it has a beautiful large garden filled with flowers and lots of grass and just quiet and peaceful.
Wow. Very nice. What was Daisy like as a puppy?
Oh, well, we don't know specifically her age. We figured she was about 1.5 years when we got her. Her teeth were really sharp. And, just a bundle of energy from start to finish. Her energy was really quite amazing. Obviously the jumping for treats and training for different tricks. And she was very, very much filled with lots of tricks and rolling over and dancing and jumping, playing on outside with her, catching balls, jumping midair to catch frisbees, and learning how to. There were these flying rings that we used to use with her because she could grab them in her mouth, and she would always flip it so the ring was like behind her head as she was running with it. My kids even actually used her as horsepower for their bicycles.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, they hooked her little. Jack Russells are amazing. They have such strength of character, and they just kind of hoof and they pull so hard when they want to go. So, so my kids had the idea: let's hook her harness or her leash up to our bicycles, and she can pull us down the road. And yeah, that's what happened. She was their little motorized bike motor.
Lovely. That's like dryland mushing.
Yes, yep. Exactly. The only problem was when she decided to see a squirrel, she'd dart off left or right, and then that was cataclysmic to the bicyclist. But she always prevailed.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned squirrels. Did she have much interaction when she was young with other wildlife?
Oh, yeah. Squirrels in particular, even though she never caught one, as far as I know, she always, it's amazing. There's a movie out there where the cartoon characters say squirrel and the dog darts off towards the squirrel. Well, that was exactly like what Daisy would do. All she had to do was see something fast moving down her purview, and she would be after it in no time flat. So, and in the car too. So it'd be interesting. Every day Daisy went for a walk and for a car ride. And now she does the car ride more than the walk. But all she had to do was see a squirrel and she'd be like in the back window, barking full blast, wait until she couldn't see it anymore. So her stereophonic bark has now lessened quite a bit now too with age. But and her eyesight has precluded her from seeing them. But her biggest thing was, oh, Daisy, come here, honey. Come. Oh, you can hear her in the background. Hold on.
That's all right.
Here, come here, honey. What is it? You sit nice. Sit nice with me. She's right here. And her love of toads, anything that jumped, she ate a lot of toads.
Oh, okay.
And yes, so you would think little ones, but one day right in front of us, there was a larger toad and she ate it right in front of us. Like it jumped and she grabbed it in midair and swallowed it. Like, I don't know, how this dog is still with us. I don't know. She has more lives than a cat.
I was going to say, ever have any sort of like ill effects from the toads?
Nope, nothing. No. And it's really amazing. And so if I ever took her on a night walk and of course, under the streetlights and where we lived, there were, there was bush on one side. And so the little critters came out at night and she would, even to this day, if she's outside at night, she's looking for something that's jumping in front of her. Now it's ants. That's all she can handle. But, oh my goodness, I can't believe what this dog has eaten in her life and never had any ill effects.
Oh, it's good. Very, very sort of solid digestive system.
I would say so.
I usually wait till a little bit later, but I'm going to ask the question or ask you to complete the sentence now. I can't believe my dog ate
large toads.
Large toads.
Yeah. Chocolate. She eats chocolate too. She has had no ill effects from eating chocolate, which is, we now ration it quite severely, but she used to really, really like chocolate. If I had Nutella, and I don't know if your audience is aware of what Nutella is, it's a hazelnut spread with lots of sugar.
Yes.
Yeah. If I had a taste of it on the spoon, she would beg until I gave her the rest of the spoon to lick off. She loves ice cream too.
Ice cream, yeah. What about things like yogurt, things like that, or?
She has eaten yogurt,
Yeah.
but I do have yogurt dipped doggy treats, and she detests them. I guess they must be too healthy.
So going back, what would a normal or typical sort of walk sort of be?
In her younger days, it would be like her being lit on fire, her engine turned on, and she would be really hoofing, really digging like a mule to get her way and get down. And I would have her on a 20-foot leash, and she would be at the end of it, still pulling my arm out at the end of it, like just pulling. I'm sure if it would have continued much longer than in her years, I would need a shoulder replacement. That's basically, just the strength these little things have. And of course, she always thought she was bigger than a bouvier, but, her spirit is large and limitless. So, of course, if there was a bird or a squirrel or anything, like, you just kind of go, please, God, no squirrels, please.
I love the fact that you use a longer leash and give them a bit of space to go where they want to go.
Yes. It was never slack.
You also mentioned in the before that she's regularly in the car. So where does she ride in the car? Where's her spot?
Well, pretty well every day. When I was years ago and up until last year, I moved in with my mom, but it would be like from my home, which is about maybe 7 minutes away, every day after work or on my days off, coming to my mom's. Mm-hmm. And so all I have to say is, let's go see Nana. And she'd be at the door ready to go. And there would be like, no, like you got to take her. She's very persuasive. Mm-hmm. And first in the car as soon as the door was open. So that was a big thing. Now it's a little, if I'm running errands or whatever, I've got her in the car with me. But the funny thing is, in her younger days, if I had a particularly melodious song full of energy playing, she would howl along with it. Yes, she has had a singing career, obviously, in another lifetime.
Nice. I like it.
Oh, yeah. Now she's kind of mute. She doesn't bark. She just kind of makes little grunting noises, and her barking is gone. But my goodness, there were some ear-shrilling car rides for sure in the confines of that small space.
So when she was younger, and I know you sort of initially got her for your daughter, how did that who did she sort of bond with more, and did that sort of change over a little bit of time?
Yeah, it did. Yes, all my kids love Daisy, and that's the first thing that happens is that they're always asking, how's Daisy? And now I have grandchildren, and whenever I do Zoom with them, they're like, where's Daisy? So I have to. She has her camera time too. Mm-hmm. So the kids bonded with her, and they love her, and she spent time on all their beds. And it seemed to be, this is the thing, whenever they needed a companion, she would always be there with them. So, she has been a counselor in her own way, with her love and unconditional ability to divide herself between all the family members. So,
nice.
Yeah. Nice. Yes.
What were her favorite games that she would play with you and the kids?
Oh, ball, definitely. I used to take her to the beach, and she would actually surf on a little surfboard in the water and take rides.
Nice.
Or in our pool at the time, she would love to. She couldn't swim very well, but she loved to be in the water in the midst of everybody and sitting on her little surfboard, her little thing, and more games. Just chase and run and hide and seek. I especially love it when she's had her bath, and she will, we play this still, even now, she still will do it to a little bit. but chasing you and running back and forth around all the furniture and hiding and then changing directions and chasing you. And, so yeah, just this amazing little soul that just loved anything that moved and any kind of opportunity to use her prowess and her speed.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how she got to enjoy being on a surfboard?
I just plopped her on it. She was in the pool. She was in the pool, and we tried her swimming and tried her jump. She would jump off the edge of the deck into the water, but you had to be right there. Mm-hmm. So she always needed to know that there was someone there to catch her, and then we just decided there was a nice solid floaty where her nails would not penetrate into the vinyl and break it. So, yeah, and she just loved that. So it was natural, and her natural balance too, right? Mm-hmm. That works well.
And how was she with the waves at the beach?
Well, luckily, it was a calm. Like, we usually go in when it's calm, not when it's too wavy. She has been on it and gotten swept off by a wave, and of course, she will try to, but that's kind of a panic swim, and then you grab her and all's well.
Excellent. I love it. Would have got a fair bit of attention from other people.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, especially on a hot day and other people are going, oh, look at the dog. Yeah, and there she is. You're up to your shoulders in water, and there she is on the surfboard and just loving it. So, yeah.
So
but knowing about, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
Well, I was going to say, the propensity of a Jack Russell is if something catches their attention, you cannot distract them from it, right? Like, once they are locked in gridlock on whatever it is that's got their attention, you've lost them. They're gone. So whether it was a squirrel or even one winter, I remember just letting her out the front door to go do her stuff, and the snow was fairly deep, and the driveway was cleaned out. This story is really interesting. So there was a fair distance, about maybe 150 meters to the road, and as I let her out of the house, the dog saw the snowplow just racing down the road. She went after a speeding snowplow.
Wow.
Followed it down the road right to the probably a good 1.5 kilometers, running full tilt, caught up with it. And of course, we're in a panic, right? So anyway, so we're out there grabbing our coats and our boots and everything and trying to find Daisy and calling her frantically. And here she comes back down the road. She actually met up with the snowplow. She had a cut in her leg and had to have some attention to it.
Oh.
But this is, yeah. So, the Jack Russells are just such amazing, like strong little animals, and resilient and brave, and will give you more gray hairs. Whether it's of your own choosing or their own selection. But yeah, she's been a real adventure, whether it's on the water, or the high seas, in the car, or chasing things down the road that she shouldn't.
How was she in the snow in general? Did she enjoy it?
She does. She does. The thing is, though, the more snow we have, the more I have to limit her space where she can go out to do her thing. And she doesn't like that. So she'll try to wall off an area and make it nice and smooth and level for her. And she still has to try to conquer the mountain that you build around the area. She isn't conquering those anymore so much, but yeah, she gets frustrated if she doesn't have the roam of the land, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever sort of lose her in the snow a little bit, or?
No, well, you'll see her because, it's like if the snow is loose and soft and she does get into the deeper snow, you'll see her cavorting, and you'll see her backside kind of pop up out of the snow, and you'll go, oh, there she is, or you see her trail, and you'll find her, and she'll she'll backtrack through her own trail to get closer to the door and get back inside. But no, we haven't lost her yet.
If you had to pick a season that you think she would enjoy more, being winter or summer or one of the others, what would you think?
Mm-hmm. Definitely when there isn't any snow. So spring, summer, fall's the best, right? Because then she can roam and I will share an adventure that happened this spring, if I may.
Of course.
It was the beautiful end of March, and it happened to be a really warm March end. And, oftentimes we say if March comes in like a lion, it goes out like a lamb. And it did this year in particular. So my daughter was over and we were doing some yard cleaning. And we have, as I say, a big yard, but it backs onto a very steep ravine. And we do have a dumping area where we dump our green waste into kind of building a little shelf out in the ravine a bit and let it compost and that sort of thing. So we have this little space, and it's there's a cedar hedge with an opening in it where that leads to. And so this particular, it was starting to get dark. And my daughter was doing the last dump of the rounds with the wheelbarrow, and I was kind of putting things in the shed. And my daughter comes back with the wheelbarrow over to the shed. She knew Daisy had followed her and assumed Daisy had followed her back to where we were. So I was locking up and we're heading to the house. And then my daughter goes, "Where's Daisy?" I went, "Oh, well, maybe she's in the shed." Knowing that she doesn't see very well, it would be easy for her to get kind of discombobulated. And so we went back to the shed, no Daisy. I started calling for her and there was no Daisy. All of a sudden we hear this yelp, like really, for a dog that doesn't make much noise anymore, it was a really hard shrilling yelp. And we realized she was down in the ravine. Oh. So she had misstepped and fallen the ravine bottom is about a good I'd say 40 meters down.
Wow.
And at the bottom is a little creek, and March water is a little cold. It's still frozen in places. And we hear this yelp, and it was getting dark. And so Allison had her cell phone with her, turned on the beam. And sure enough, after watching this white little dot down in the bottom of the ravine, and it was unsafe for us to go down. So down she is, and there's, animals like coyotes and foxes down there that like to roam around, and she would be just easy fodder for a meal if she stayed. So we're panicking, and my daughter calls the fire department, and they're on practice. They're doing some drills and practice, so they weren't readily available. We're keeping the beam on her. And seeing her wander around, and wherever we shone the light, she kind of backed away from it because it must have scared her. In the dark. Yeah, with her when you have cataracts, it's kind of prismatic the way the light hits. So I could see how she would be scared. But she was far enough away that we couldn't help her. So we had to wait and wait and wait. Finally, after several calls back and forth to the fire department, they came with two great big huge fire trucks, 12 men, a great big boom light, and men ready to rappel down into the ravine and get her. Oh, wow. So after an hour and a half of this poor dog wandering around down there and us, being frantic about her well-being and welfare, two firefighters, one tried to put her in a safety bag to bring her up, and she wouldn't. She, even with all her years of wear and tear on her, was not going to cooperate with them. But two men had to carry her up, this little 18-pound dog. So she made it. She survived, and no worse for wear. But
I was just going to ask, what sort of injuries did she sort of like have? But
very wet, very cold, and she had to have a bath that she didn't want.
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
She was a little disgruntled. Yes. So more adventures and misadventures, but she's now a little bit leery about going to the back of the property for good reason, and thank goodness that she is. But yes, she survived that too.
I mean, even for a younger dog, but for a bit more mature lady like Daisy, wow, that's an incredible sort of story to fall down that distance.
Yes, exactly.
And the
just one
excitement
more
of
notch
getting
on the Daisy belt.
the excitement of getting the rescue.
Yes, 12 good-looking men came. So that was, for me, that was my daughter and I just stood back and went, "Oh, they look good in uniform." Thanks, Daisy. Thanks for another adventure.
How, in general sort of health over the years, did she have many or any trips to the vet?
Yeah. Actually, her vet care has been like minimal, other than the routine stuff. She's been recently experiencing some ear infections, and at Christmas time, I actually thought we were going to lose her because she had like a bronchitis and was really having difficulty breathing, and we honestly thought it was just her having her time. And so, obviously, all of us were rather upset the day we had to take her in because I thought this was it. She was that poorly. And they did their tests and everything and x-rays. There was no pneumonia, but they said that she had some bronchitis and she still suffers a little bit from some breathing issues every once in a while. I think that just goes with age and and all the stuff that she's done through the years. And yes, that's you. Yes. And but antibiotics, and she was good as new again after a couple of weeks. So where we thought we were going to have a tragedy at Christmas time, she's defied the odds again. Ear infections, so a little bit. She has had surgery. She does develop lumps on her, and they're just little fat-filled sacs.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's had that surgery once and worn the cone of shame. And then the lumps came back again. So, it's like you go, you love your dog, and you could intervene more and get all these lumps taken off of her and put her through more rigors and all this sort of thing. But you know what? She's been blessed and she's been a blessing. She's not suffering at all with any of these lumps on her. And she's happy and so her vet care has been minimal, really.
Oh, excellent. Sounds a very resilient little dog.
Very.
Do you have any sort of like quirky habits or anything like that you would say?
We used to do a funny little routine that her and I had, and it was interesting. It was generic. She would be at one end of the hallway, and I would lay down on my stomach on my knees and kind of perch down there and get low with her. And I would go, "Konnichiwa," and she would start crawling towards me in such a beautiful little way. It was like, our little habit. Now, she doesn't do that anymore, but that was really cute for a long, long time. All I have to do is say "Konnichiwa," and she would come crawling. And what's really quirky with her is there's always one ear up and one ear down, always. As you can,
I can see, yes.
Always got this one ear up. So even when she's sleeping, one ear up and one ear down. So it's as if she's always on guard, waiting for whoever's going to come next to spend some time with her. The one thing about a Jack Russell, or her in particular, because they're different coats, is her hair is so fine. And she is such a hair factory. It's incredible. I'm sure if I sat long enough and if she would sit still enough, I could see hair pop up on her because it's everywhere. And so, wearing black is preclusive to going anywhere without any white shreds of hair on. And the car needs constant cleaning and all this sort of thing. But that's one of your quirks, isn't it? Your hair shedding. It's just 19 years of lots of hair vacuuming and always to see, it's not like there's season with it where it's like worse in the spring and less in the rest of the year. It's just constant.
What about grooming in general?
Very easy with her because she has short hair. She doesn't need to go to be groomed and that sort of thing. And all her years of walking have given her the manicure that she needs, especially when she's hoofing on fur material. You know, she's been a very low maintenance dog. Just all she needs is her love, water, food, and the willingness to put up with any of her antics and adventures that she's brought us through the years.
Any sort of memorable holidays that she's had with you?
I think, basically, we haven't taken her on holidays per se away. So that's when she gets to go to visit her little granny friends. There's kennel where she goes, where she's free range and loves to meet all the new animals and doggies that were there. And always like a report card. You get the report card after the end of the visit at the kennel and how many new friends that she's made and the love that the kennel owner has enjoyed her spunky little personality. So whenever we go away, she gets to go away to the kennel, although we're not doing that much anymore. And kind of, honoring her stage in life and the consistency of her routine that she likes. But one of the things, and she doesn't do this so much anymore, but Christmas time, when you're unwrapping all the presents and everything, there's the paper flying everywhere. Well, she gets in there and she starts to rip the paper until everything is shredded. So that makes it very much easier for cleanup when all you have to do is just kind of break it all together and then just put it in a bag because all the hard work's been done by Daisy the Shredder.
Oh, nice. Has she ever had any other, over a period of life in your house, any other sort of like animals?
Yes. Through the years, there's always been other animals. When she first came to us, we had 2 cats, Meow and Riley at the time, and they interacted well, and it was like spit and spat. They were either best friends or worst enemies at the time, depending on what adventures are at play that day. And so yes, and we also had 2 birds at the time, a budgie and a cockatiel, and we've had the budgie and the cockatiel ride around on her back, and that was quite memorable. Nice. Yes, until Daisy decides to take off in another tangent. Of course, then the feathers fly and the fur flies, right? It's never. In later years, my daughter had to return home for a while and brought her beautiful long-haired cat, Quasi. And so at first, the cat was unsure about the dog, but Daisy was always willing to be a friend. And eventually, we even had them both sitting outside on the lounger together, and there was obviously a mutual truce between the 2 of them at that point.
Has she had a favorite spot in the house, and has that changed over the years?
Now she's inconsistently able to jump up on her own anymore on the sofa, but her spot has always been wherever the highest possible place to sit is. That's where she would want to be. Mm-hmm. So now she requires to be picked up, or on a good day, she'll still jump up. Through the years, it was like all I had to say was when I went to bed and working shift work various hours, bedtime would be for her whenever I went to bed. So I have no idea what she did when I was working. But she was always willing to run and jump up on the cedar chest at the foot of the bed, and then jump boundlessly onto the bed and find her spot, usually between my legs at the ankles, and snuggle in for a good cuddle and sleep. So consistently there.
Nice.
We've never kennel trained her or cage trained her or anything like that.
Off the top of your head, can you sort of think of one of the happiest times that the two of you have had together?
Happiest. Well, every day is a happy day. I can't, like, every day that I get to cuddle her is one more blessing that I have with her. I never expected her to be with me this long. And like I say, there have been times where, she could have crossed. But just knowing that every day is a blessing is such a beautiful thing. So like today, being on the radio show here with you, and Daisy's here in the background here with me, and making her presence known. Having written her story, it was a tribute to Daisy, and having it published in a book was also a very, very happy time for us. And being able to, it was after that I wrote that story that we had the tumble down into the ravine. So the adventures continue, and you never know what the next day is going to bring. But today's happy, right here, right now, with you, Robert.
Life's an adventure, and you have to live it.
You do.
Certainly
holds barred.
Certainly sounds like Daisy has been living an adventurous life. Beautiful little girl.
Well, the thing is, though, how she ended up in the kennel was quite interesting. She was found wandering around. People had reported her wandering around our town with her collar and leash on, wandering around. So she had gotten away from her previous owners, still with her collar and leash intact. And
that's interesting.
Yes. And so she was found and reported and picked up, and who knows how long she had been wandering around. But I honestly believe, the fact that nobody claimed her, she was obviously too much for them. I think the biggest point to get across is that don't just let an animal go because you can't take care of them or they're not the right fit for you, but take them someplace where somebody can care for them. Don't leave them wandering around, because this poor little thing could have died many times, got caught with her leash on something, could have been hurt so many different ways. And when you think about how that had to happen in order for her to be found and to end up in our life and live with us all these years, what a tragedy that could have happened if she had been hurt or harmed in any way.
Absolutely. Yeah, won't even start. Some people are people, unfortunately.
Yeah. I remember years ago traveling to Spain, and we were on the Gold Coast, my family and I, and having a beautiful holiday. And I was most disheartened by the number of dogs that are just wandering around, animals that are just let go and wandering, looking for love or looking for home or scavenging for whatever little crumb they can find. And they're all souls. They're all beautiful souls with purpose and reason to be here. And yet there's so many that are in love, just like children in the world.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. It's, some things aren't quite right.
No. And you never know. If you believe in reincarnation, it could be somebody's loved one from another lifetime. But I think that the right animals find us at the right time. All my animals have never paid for an animal. They've all been foundlings or findings that have found our home. And the love, boundless love that comes from taking care of a small soul who's still here with us after all these years. Yeah. It's just incredible.
It certainly looks like it's going to be a while to go yet.
I think so. I really do.
What are her favourite treats, and have they changed?
Yes. No more Nutella. That upsets you. But what we do is if my mom and I are having a small dipped ice cream treat, we'll eat the chocolate off because we like the chocolate. We're not going to waste that. But she always has the best half of the ice cream on the stick. So she loves that. And if she even hears the wrapper rattle, she could be asleep. And as I say, with her 1 year up, she will know and she will come running, and there's no defying her. My mom laughs. She says, I have to take my ice cream to the bedroom and close the door.
Yeah, they've got that sixth sense.
Thank you. And even with her low vision, so she's got worse cataract in her left eye, and her hearing is selective, I would say. It's not necessarily deaf, it's more selective. Her sense of smell has remained extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
That has not changed at all, nor have her taste buds. So
Nice. So, anything else coming to mind about anything else that you'd like to sort of share?
well, I will share that what has helped Daisy, I think, is what has contributed to her longevity. Now, this breed does have longevity in their blood, but through the years, what has really helped her to calm her, to make her relax, and kind of bringing in the title of your show, is Reiki and pulsed electromagnetic field therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So this little lovely dog gets Reiki from me all the time, and that has helped to keep her calm and keep her happy. It has really broken through any pain, fear, anxiety that she has. And the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy helps to reduce inflammation. So she'll lay on the mat. I turn the program on, and she will lay there with a low intensity for as long as she needs to. And we try to do it every day with her. And she either lays on the mat or beside it. But it really does help to improve circulation, reduce pain. Mm-hmm. And I believe it has these two things together, working on the soul level and the energy level, the micro level of her life, has helped her in such immeasurable ways.
Oh, sounds and it certainly sounds like she's doing well on it.
Yes, proof is in the pudding here.
You mentioned just before that you wrote a little bit about her.
Yes.
How did that sort of come about?
Well, another guest of yours who introduced you to me, Sue London. She's a pet intuitive messenger, and I'm sure, I heard you had a long and beautiful discussion with her. We're friends, and whenever Sue has a project going on, she'll say, "Hey, Brenda, would you like to look at this or be a part of this with me?" And I'm, usually like cohorts in as friendship is, I'll say yes. So knowing that particular book, and the name escapes me right now, Pets That Help Us Heal, is a book, and you can buy it on her website. Is funds from this book go towards helping train guide dogs in their immeasurably important work in helping people who have low sight or have seizure activity or whatever their needs are. Mm-hmm. And it costs about $35,000 to train a dog, because you train the dog and then you have to train the person with the dog. And it's quite a prescriptive process. So, knowing that I've been gifted with this beautiful dog and sharing the tribute about her and her life and her meaning in my life, and it was just a no-brainer. The words flowed so easily when we are so connected with such a love vibe. And so the book, I'm just happy to share her story. I've collaborated and written on many different topics and many different books, but this one is a very special tribute book for sure.
Absolutely. Brenda, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you and hearing all about Daisy. Awesome little dog.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Robert. Sharing our adventures and story. Thank you so very much for the time and the care and love and concern you have for animals and their owners. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm not sure, did you want to share any sort of like links for anything that you do, or say anything about anything that you're working with, or that's entirely up to you?
Oh, well, I would love to. As I say, I've been an RN for 38 years, and I retired last year from the front line. And, and so through the years, I've learned a lot of things about alternatives or integrative approaches to health and wellness. So even though I'm no longer practicing as a frontline RN, doesn't mean that my love and concern for humanity and pets has changed or has retired. So I do have a Linktree link that people can go to. And it's very easy because everything's there, from my books to my work and my podcast and TV show. So if anybody is interested in learning more about me and what I do and how I believe health and wellness at the cell level is much more effective and integrative approaches are much more effective than some of the conventional approaches to wellness in our world, you can go to https://linktr.ee/Brenda Pearce, and Pearce is Pearce. Love to have you check out my work, register for any newsletters, read, and just enjoy. I believe in media that matters, and so everything is gifted with much heart and much love.
Very, very nice. Thank you very much again.
Yes, I look forward to when this is published, and you'll hear the squeaks. Daisy's getting restless, as you can see, Robert. And so the timing is perfect for the end of this show. Thank you, and many blessings to you in allowing us to have this chance to shine.
Again, an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Thank you to the new listeners in Cameron Park in the US, and also in Toledo in Spain. Thank you very much. If you'd like to leave a review on whatever platform you are listening on, it would be appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you want to make any comments or suggestions, contact us here on the Facebook page. And until next time, stay safe, and remember, your dog is family.